You ever just sit down and think, I wonder what I have accumulated so far? It's a pretty practical question, isn't it? Wonder what I've accumulated so far. Maybe percentage-wise, there comes a time in most everyone's life when they start thinking about retirement. It kind of cracks me up, the whole concept of it. Because people work so hard to have a career, and they work so hard in their career to get to that place of achievement so that they can retire from it and not work anymore. And then their life's over. It's just kind of like, done. You made your whole life about something so that you could quit doing it. And it really gives me a perspective about it. But it's funny when people get, not funny, but it just seems usual, when a person gets to be a certain age and they start looking, if they haven't at an early age, they start looking at, okay, what am I going to do when I can't work anymore, if I lose my job, or if the time of retiring from working comes? What will I do? What will I have? And they start to get serious about savings. The baby boomer generation is one of the generations that have just been lucky. I mean, just really lucky. They are, Mrs. Dollins, this is true. I can prove it with statistics. The baby boomers didn't grow up during the Depression. A lot of people were at the end of their career when the Depression happened, and literally they had a lot and they lost everything. The baby boomers were born after that, and here are some frugal people who are into savings and really kind of boosted them and got them a good start. A lot of baby boomers got starts and helps from their parents. And then the tech boom really happened for the baby boomers, and the interest during the 1980s. Remember back in the 1980s, I do, when interest rates were between 18 and 22%. Like, you could put your money, my grandpa had a CD where he was getting 18 point something percent on his money. He'd get mad at my grandma because she would buy rentals and rent them. He'd say, why would you do that? You have all this work that you have to do, and you're not making 18% on a rental. And then of course, some things happened, and interest was down to about 6 to 9% for quite a while, and then the crash in 2001 happened, and now if you get a percent on interest, it's amazing. It's pretty incredible. Most people are getting like 0.01 or 0.03% return on their investments. Well, the time comes in life but the baby boomers were during that time when everything was good, and a lot of them just they came during the time when there was unions that were formed, that they worked for companies that gave a retirement, had medical benefits, and a lot of them are doing pretty well. They're retired, and it seemed like the economy was just pretty good. They didn't have a lot of wars during their working times, and they ended up pretty well. And so a lot of them didn't think about retirement until their 40s and even their 50s, and all of a sudden the last 15 or 20 years they worked real hard on retirement. Now they've got enough that they should be able to make it unless they invest and lose it all or something like that happens. I don't want to be in life like a person who realizes, I'm almost out. You ever think about what you'd do if you're told you had a week to live? You ever think about what you'd say, who you'd talk to, what you'd try to accomplish in your final week of life? I don't want to be the kind of person that it occurs to me, I just ran out. I don't have any more life to live. I better make sure I've got something in reality, which is eternity. Okay, so you and I need to realize as we live our lives that this life is temporary, it's temporal, it's corruptible. But the things that we do that matter for eternity matter forever. And we need to stop caring about people criticizing us for living in a way that shows that we're investing in eternity. I remember being a young person, people saying, well, you need to think about yourself too. You need to think about, your future. And I'm thinking, I am thinking about my future, actually. I have never taken a job that looked good at the outset. You know that? When we started Fort Lauderdale Baptist Church, you know what my salary was? Zero. You know how many years it was zero? A couple. Yeah, several years. You know how many years it was till I made a living wage, a wage that was at the bottom of the per capita income for median household, bottom of the per capita for our city. It was like maybe 7-8 years. And a lot of times during that time, I still happens sometimes. You have churches call you and say, Brother Price, we're looking for a pastor. We wonder if you'd be willing to candidate for our church. And I've just always just said, well, thank you for considering me, but I know where I'm called to serve at. I know where I'm supposed to be. And I've had people mention, well, you need to be thinking about your future too. And what they're insinuating, what they're implying is you don't have much of a future pastoring a little church in Fort Lauderdale. Maybe things would be better for you. Well, actually, what I'm thinking about is my future. And I want to serve the Lord the way He wants me to serve Him, where He wants me to serve Him, being concerned about the things that matter. And the reason for that are because I want to have an eternal reward. I have no idea what kind of eternal reward I have, but I assume I have one. And it's not wrong to do so. Okay, so let's look at some different kinds. We have the imperishable crown. All the crowns are imperishable. Let's look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 19.